here. So Professor Joan Wertz from the psychology department is going to give us a convocation about the growth mindset. So if you guys could give her your undivided attention, that would be fantastic.
Good morning, and thank you. And please turn off your phones away. It's a good way to start a convocation. As Leslie said, my name is Joan Wertz, and I'm in the psychology. I've been a professor here since 2001. I realize I'm dating myself because many of you were probably born in 2001. Yes, thank you. So I teach psychology. I'm also one of the coordinators for the Global Public Health Program. So I teach courses like Intro to Public Health, and I also teach a Health, Wellness, and College Success course. During my time here at Monmouth College, I have done research on things related to student success. In particular, I was interested in looking at incoming students and measuring variables like grit and resilience and things like growth mindset to see how those were related to how well students were doing when they were here. And cut to the chase, there's a relationship. People who have a growth mindset tend to do better in college, they tend to retain better, they have a higher graduation rate, and they earn higher GPAs. So for all of those reasons, and I've just accepted a position next year for the Associate Dean of Student Success. For all of these reasons, I have been interested in college student success, helping you guys be successful while you're here, earning your grades, but also just having a really good experience. So for those reasons, I've been asked to talk to you about this topic of growth mindset today. I also want to point out, I am one of just a number of people on campus who is interested in this topic of student success. There's a whole team of people, in addition to all of your faculty members, who are really interested in helping you to have a positive experience when you're here. So I'll reiterate that again at the end. There's lots of people that you can reach out to today. So our focus today is on how you think about your skills and abilities. In particular, I want to focus on your skills and abilities, how you think about those things, and the ones that are related to academic success. In particular, I want to point out that how you think about your skills and what you're capable of doing is actually changeable, and it's really important. So once you become aware of what your skill set is, you have a better chance of being able to fix it. So we're going to start with a video today. The main guy on this video is Trevor Reagan. He founded a company called Train Ugly. He's a consultant for sports and education fields. I think this is a really good video. It's going to be a good basis to get us started. When it is done, I'll kind of reiterate some of the main points and then talk about how you can take these things and focus them on your time here as a student. Take notes on the video, all right? And then afterwards, I'll kind of reiterate those things to make sure you have a good set of notes. And Josie, you can go ahead and start the video for us.
The term growth mindset is everywhere. A quick Google search will show hundreds of sports teams, schools, and companies using this research, and that is awesome. But there are still some misconceptions here. So the idea today, I want to clear up a few things about growth mindset and then zoom in on the most important piece, which is how do we actually build one? Quick recap on what the mindsets are. This is a term coined by Carol Dweck. She's been researching learning for longer than I've been alive. And what she's discovered is so simple and so important that the way we think about learning can change the way we do it. Sometimes we operate from what she calls a fixed mindset. Here we believe skills are something you're born with, that you sort of have them or you don't, and that you can't really change that.
Walter, how do you write such good social letters?
Well, Nora, it's a talent. Some people have it and some don't.
Our core idea towards learning is I can't or don't have to grow. I can't is I'm just not cut out to be a leader, I can never build that skill. Or don't have to is I'm a natural at this, I don't need to work at it. So that's two sides of the fixed mindset. This mindset is a source of what we call limiting beliefs and stories about skills, like I'm not a math person, I could never learn this, I could never do that. Other times we operate from what she calls a growth mindset. Here we believe that skills are something that are built, that we earn and develop our skills, that we are in control of them.
Most people are capable of playing the piano, but like other skills, this form of behavior has to be learned and then strengthened in practice.
That if someone's good with numbers, it's because they've built that skill. If someone can't dance, it's because they haven't danced enough. Now, the big idea is, depending on what mindset we're operating in, this can influence the way we grow. And the reason why is our mindsets can impact our actions, especially when it comes to learning.
Sometimes people overcomplicate this stuff, but the way it works is actually pretty simple. My name is Sophia Scott and I'm 10 years old. It's time to school you up in mindset. This is how the learning process works. Belief leads to action and action leads to growth. B-A-G, bag. Belief, this is what we think about when we're learning a new skill. I think I can or I think I can't. Action, you know, we're talking about practice. Trying new things. Working hard. Growth. This is when we see progress and get better at stuff. The problem is when we have a fixed mindset, we don't believe we can learn stuff. I'm not artsy. I'm not creative. I'm not a math person. This isn't just for kids. Adults have stories too. I'm not a leader. I can't learn new technology. I can't make new friends. So they're missing the belief. If we don't believe we can learn something, do you think we'll practice enough? If this is gone, that's gone. If you don't believe you can dance, then you're probably not going to practice it. And if you don't practice, then you'll probably not be able to dance. You can't get good at stuff if you don't practice. Weird, right? Stories become true if they rob us of action. If we have a growth mindset, this process works differently. Is this thing on? If I believe I can grow, I'm more likely to take action. When I put in the work, I'm more likely to grow and get better. And again, this becomes true. It's really that simple. We gotta believe, y'all, and also take action.
Now, let's dig into some things we have to be clear on. First, growth mindset is not some magic pill or secret formula. Yeah, you just have to believe and then you can grow. No. You know and I know action is the key to growth. We still have to do the work. That can take some time. That can take some patience. That's going to take some experimentation. But the belief we can grow provides the fuel. The other idea, we're not just one or the other. There's no such thing as just a growth mindset person or just a fix. This can change by the day, by the project, by the skill, by our mood. Maybe instead of mindset, the term should be mind state. It's like, in this current moment, I believe I can grow. That might not be true in even 10 minutes. But when we're aware of the nuts and the bolts, we can work to change it. A skill we can all develop is maintaining the belief we can grow despite the things that are thrown at us, despite the challenges and problems and obstacles thrown our way, because we don't really control them. And we definitely don't control the things people say to us. But beliefs happen between our ears, and we can work to maintain that growth mindset despite the things people say, which I think is step one in this long process of becoming a great learner.
I'm Larry Wilkins, and right now I'm a restorative justice facilitator. I facilitate classes and workshops dealing with restorative justice. So we teach at different homeless shelters and transitional programs where people are transitioning from prison to the streets and need help re-entering. Environmental factors always play a part when it comes to growth mindset, especially when it seems like everything around you is just so fixed. It seems like that nothing is going to change, just the way it is. Maybe my mother had the same mindset, my father, my brother, just people within the neighborhood. So that's my starting point, because I want to debrief them to say, hey, just because everybody else in your family or a majority of the people that surround you went down that path, you don't have to. You have choices. Not saying that the process is going to happen overnight. Not saying that the first day that I go out and do it, it's going to work, but I started the process. So I think using the growth mindset is a great tool.
To me, there are three important layers of growth mindset that are hard to argue with. One, it gives us ignition to start. If I believe I can grow, I'm more likely to start learning something new. Two, I think it helps build some resilience when I start to struggle and face challenges. The belief that I can change, that I am not stuck, can keep me going even when it gets hard.
with the growth mindset, it's like once I experience failure or adversity, it's like, okay, I'm really in a bad place right now. It's a reality that this is going on in my life and this is a tragedy, this happened, but I don't have to stay stuck there. Not saying that you run from reality or you don't accept what's going on in the environment, but not letting that take over you and not letting that blind you or cut off you from having a vision of seeing further than that. With a growth mindset, is saying, okay, this happened, this was a setback financially, it was a setback relationship wise, it was a setback on whatever level, but the growth mindset allows me to move out of that and move forward.
3, I think it keeps us hungry even when we do achieve some success. All 3 of those layers, yes, they're supported in Dweck's research, but it's also common sense. I'm more likely to start, more likely to stick with it, and more likely to stay hungry. All 3 matter. On the flip side, it's also true. In a fixed mindset, I'm less likely to start, because why would I try to learn something new if I don't believe I can grow? I'm more likely to give up when it gets hard. I'm stuck. I can't change. And when I do achieve some success, I'm likely to take the foot off the gas. I get complacent because look, we did it. We discovered the system. I don't need to learn, grow, and get better. Okay, so growth mindset is an important piece of the learning puzzle. It's not the whole puzzle, but it's an essential piece. So now the question becomes, how do we build that belief? I think there are 3 ways to do that. 1, so simple, but it is effective. Reflect. Remember the skills that you've built and how you built the skills.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
You did
Yay!
You did it!
Oh,
Come here!
wow!
You're walking!
Look, we're all good at so many things. Remember what that process was like. When we reflect and give ourselves credit, it's a good sort of backdoor way of building this belief. I can learn. Another thing we can do, learn new stuff. There's some schools that I've worked with that do what they call the anti-talent show, where all the students, all the teachers pick something that they can't do, they spend 10 days practicing and then do an anti-talent show. Now in 10 days, no one masters the skill, but most of them can do it. Do you see the overarching lesson here is you can learn stuff. 3, we need to unpack the research of what they call neuroplasticity. Now I know that's lots of syllables in one word, but it's a really important topic to dig into. Neuroplasticity is the study of our brains, and it shows how our brains are constantly adapting and changing with our environment, through our thoughts, and especially through action. I could nerd out about neuroplasticity for hours, but I just want to zoom in on a few of the basics. First, the name, neuro, that's referring to our brain.
The human brain. The brain, a pulpy mass of cells and fibers.
Plasticity is talking about that it's moldable, changeable. In Trevor language, our brain can change. Neuroplasticity.
I began to realize that the dominant view of the brain and its capacity to change itself beyond early childhood was wrong.
This is Michael Merzenich. He's been studying this stuff for literally decades. He's known as the father of brain plasticity.
And we did experiments, other scientists had also done experiments earlier and in parallel, that showed that the brain in fact was massively plastic at an older age. At any age, on any ability, and I could improve it. And not just improve the ability, improve the machinery of the brain that supports the ability.
Our brain is a series of circuits and pathways. Anytime we do something, bang, we fire a pathway. The idea is if we fire a pathway a bunch of times, our brain will reinforce that circuit and we become better at it. This is how practice builds a skill. The neuroscientists say what fires together, wires together.
And the real message is that the brain is designed to change. It turns out that plasticity in the brain is its big trick. It's the main thing that makes it so fabulous.
The way I think about it is our brain works a lot like a muscle. And I know that that is a cliche we've all heard, but there's actually a lot of truth to that. And there's a few layers. 1, my brain is like a muscle, which means it needs struggle to grow. To build muscles, we add weight. We add weight to induce struggle because we know that's how we get stronger. Same rules apply to learning. We need some challenges and obstacles and struggle to grow.
You can train a human in a skill where it's just easy. You know, they always get the answer right. Nothing changes. Why would it change? You know, you don't want to make it so hard that you can never get the answer right. That also shuts down the brain. You don't want to be so easy that you always get it right. That also, both of those things shut down the brain. You want to be in that challenge mode where you say, okay, I'm going to improve at this.
The other idea, if I wanted to make a physical change in my body, think about how I would do that. I might upgrade my diet. I might sign up for a gym. I might hire a trainer. And I'm definitely going to work out 2 or 3 times a week for a really long time because I know how muscles are built. We have to deploy the same tactics to building skills. So many times we try something twice. It doesn't work. We go, yep, can't learn that. That's the equivalent of doing like 1 set of push-ups. Then I look in the mirror and go, not bigger. Guess I can't grow. We would never do that in the weight room because we know it takes practice, reps, struggle, and time to build muscles. Well, the same rules apply to learning. I can't go to the weight room and watch someone do squats and I get stronger. That would be awesome, but that's not how it works. I could observe and learn how to do a squat. I could learn from their form and technique, and all that can be useful. But to actually see the results, I have to do the squats. Same rules apply to learning. I can listen, watch, and observe. I can learn how to do something. I can learn from someone's experiences and their tactics and technique. But when it gets down to it, the best way to build the skill is to fire the pathway, and the best way to fire the pathway is through action. The last layer, look, we're all not going to become bodybuilders, but would you agree we could all make any muscle stronger if we worked it out? And probably much stronger than we realize. You know where I'm headed. Same rules apply to learning. We're all not going to become experts at everything or master every skill, but we can all get better.
Some people are slower learners, right? They struggle. But guess what? The machinery that controls learning is plastic. You can improve it. We take people and we train them in a certain way that exercises the machinery that controls change in the brain, and they learn faster. Of course they do. And what they have to understand is that there can be a pretty long progression. You know, I mean, it takes effort. It takes a focus of attention. Conditions have to be right to change the brain, right? It's not free.
To wrap this thing up, I'm not standing up here saying anyone can do anything. That is not our message. Like, I'm not going to go play in the NBA because I know about neuroplasticity. But we are going to bat on the fact that for the most part, we can get better at stuff. Much better than we realize. Rather than letting the stories rob us of the action, the challenge is, let's put this thing in the right environment and put the stories to the test. That if we give it some time to struggle, to solve the problems, to fire the pathways, I think we'll be surprised. Our capacity to grow is much greater than we realize. Again, we're all different. We're going to go at different speeds. We definitely have our strengths. We definitely have weaknesses. There are some head starts. There are environmental things at play. But we can all build our skills. And the more skills we build, the more things we get better at, usually the more things we can do. We have to stop letting the stories, this fixed mindset, rob us of those skills.
You are designed to be continuously improvable. Nobody's done. Nobody's defined what their limits are. I can tell you whatever you think your limits are, you're wrong. Absolutely, everyone has the capacity to be better at virtually everything. You can be better next week, a little bit, but in a year you can be a lot better at almost anything that matters to you. And that's the way you should think about it. I mean, if I want to be better at these things that matter to me, let's get to work.
Look, I don't want this to come across that like learning is easy. No, it is hard, it is frustrating, and it takes some time. And again, there are challenges that can absolutely get in the way, but we can all get better at getting better.
And the magic is that once you get into a learning mode, once you're really trying to improve yourself on a regular basis and acquiring new skills and improving whatever is important to you, you actually improve the machinery that controls learning for everything.
The best advice I have for you is aim low. Start small. Pick one skill, one relevant skill that if you develop could help you get better. Spend some time practicing, spend some time firing the pathways. And as we start to see that progress, we start to gain momentum. The floor becomes higher and we build from there. Stay patient, aim low, build the skills. This is something we can all do a little bit more of. I hope this video will help you start to take that action. Thanks.
Okay, I hope you guys found some good pieces of information out of that. Before I start recapping a couple of what I think are the really key points, I want to remind you, I sent you all an email yesterday that has a link to a very short quiz. It's 8 questions. And it is a quiz to measure essentially whether you have a fixed mindset about learning, or if you have a growth mindset, or if you're one of those people who's somewhere in the middle and has a mixed mindset. How many of you have already done that quiz for me? All right, good. How many of you already have a growth mindset when it comes to academics? Okay, a few. Good thing we're having this convocation, isn't it, right? So the rest of what we're going to be talking about here is for those of you who don't already have a growth mindset, it's valuable to develop this way of thinking. It is going to be linked to your ability to take on challenges, to succeed in some of those courses that are going to be really hard for you, and to persevere. So let's recap some of these main points. Okay, first of all, Trevor draws a distinction between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. A fixed mindset, when it comes to some skill or ability, is this idea that you were born this way, right? I have this ability, right? So some people have athletic ability. I have an ability to do math. That was really good right from when I was really young, right? So if you think that, okay, I was just born with this skill, I'm good at this, you might have a fixed mindset about it. The flip is also true. Sometimes we just think, I can't do this, right? I'm not able to get any better at this. This is just not in my wheelhouse. It doesn't matter. And if we have a fixed mindset about something, especially if we're not great at it, what it does is keep us from trying, right? So I don't think I'm good at art, okay? As a high school student, as a college student, I didn't sign up for art courses. I never took the opportunity to get better at doing that sort of thing. So it can be really limiting if you have this fixed mindset. On the other hand, he talks about a growth mindset. And a growth mindset is the idea that whatever your skill or ability, this thing that you're talking about or thinking about, if you have a growth mindset, it means that you believe that you can actually get better. And the way that you get better is by taking on challenges and by working hard at it and with a lot of practice. Okay? So let's take music performance. How many of you are musicians or singers? All right. How many of you, with your hands up, how many of you have spent a lot of time practicing that particular skill? All right. All right. How about athletes? Hands up. How many of you are athletes? How many of you have spent an awful lot of time practicing that particular skill? Yeah. Okay. So for some reason, we think with athletic performance and with music skills, a lot of times we just kind of get, okay, you really have to work hard at these things. You have to practice. Our coaches and our teachers, when we were young, the people who were giving us lessons, they told us you have to practice. You get better with practice. You need to work hard at this. And we accept it for some of those types of skills. When it comes to learning, however, a lot of times we tend to think instead that, well, I can either do this kind of thing, I'm good at science, or I'm not good at science, I'm good at this other field, I'm not good at that other field. But the truth is that this growth mindset, this idea of practice, this idea of working hard and through struggles applies to your academics just as much as it applies to these other areas in your life. Okay, so fixed mindset, I'm born this way, I have these skills, nothing really I can do about them. I'm not really going to be able to change. Growth mindset, I can change. I work hard, I practice, I'm going to get better, I'm going to be able to develop these skills. Okay, second main point that he brought up. Actually, the young girl Sophie, walked us through this. Belief leads to action, which leads to growth. So if you're interested in this idea as a new college student, how am I actually going to get better at academics? The belief, your mindset, that you can actually get better at something is the first step, right? So adopting a growth mindset, thinking that I can take on this challenge if I work hard, if I practice, if I write 4 drafts of my paper, whatever it is, if you have that belief that that's going to help you to get better, that actually leads to action. So if you have that mindset, the belief that you can get better at this, you will actually work hard. You're going to take some of those tough courses. You're not going to shy away from them. You're going to show up to see the tutors. You're going to spend extra time with a study group, whatever it is. So that belief that you can work at this and get better, having a growth mindset, leads to actually taking actions, the behaviors that will finally lead to growth. You will get better if you put those actions into play. Third main point that I want to hit. Trevor mentions that whether or not you have a growth mindset depends on a lot of things. It depends on the skill that we're talking about. Okay? So growing up, I was a musician, I was also an athlete. I definitely had a growth mindset that I needed to work hard to get better at these things, and it turns out my practice is getting better, right? But I didn't necessarily believe that about all of my academic subjects, right? So you can have a fixed mindset about some things, and you can have a growth mindset about other things. Whether or not you have a fixed mindset also depends on the day, okay? So it depends on your set of circumstances, it depends on what kind of mood you're in that day. Your mindset can change over time. To be totally honest with you, when I did something similar like this for last year's freshman class in ILA, and I found that quiz, I did the quiz and it told me that I had a mixed mindset at that point. I did that quiz again just the last couple of days because I wanted to make sure the link was still working for you guys before I sent it out to you, and that's how I had a growth mindset. Right? So over time, and especially because I have been thinking about this a lot lately to get ready for this convocation, the fact that I've been thinking about it so much to talk with you about it probably influenced, right, that my thinking, my mindset about our ability to learn, take on these intellectual activities. So it does change over time. It's malleable, right? We can work on it, we can change it. Final main point, your growth mindset, right, or fixed mindset, whatever it is that you have, it is related to your performance and to your outcomes, right? It's not just this, oh, we don't feel good about ourselves if we actually believe that we can do these things, right, that it's motivating. It is really related to outcomes and performance. People who have a growth mindset tend to be more successful at whatever task it is that we are looking at, right? Because they persevere, they stick with it, they work hard, they don't give up, okay? So they practice, they work hard, they don't give up, right? So it really is related to performance and outcomes. Okay, so hopefully, between Trevor Reagan and myself, we have convinced you that maybe trying to work on having a growth mindset is a pretty good thing. I want to take some time, I'm sure you get this part into your notes too. If you don't really have a growth mindset yet, how do you work on developing it? So in the video, Trevor Reagan talked about 3 things that you can do. The first thing that he said was to reflect on how you have built skills in the past, okay? So if you have become a really good athlete, if you have become a very good musician, if you are really good at a particular subject, think about how you got good at that, right? And don't just say, oh, I had to practice a lot. Think about exactly what it was. How did you practice? How much time you spent practicing? The advice that you got from your coaches. Think about the specifics and the details. Reflect on how you got good at that particular skill. When you focus on that, when you reflect on how you develop skills in some area, that hopefully then will allow you to think, okay, I can translate this to something else that maybe I'm not so good at yet. Okay? So reflect on how you have built those skills in the past. The second thing he says is go learn new stuff, right? Take on some new things, try some new things, take some new classes that you haven't taken before. Learn new things. That's also a way to help develop a growth mindset. And then finally, he focused on using neuroplasticity to your advantage. I'm a big nerd about neuroplasticity. I actually teach a course occasionally in the psychology department on neuroplasticity. All it means is that your brain is flexible. You can change it. You can change it with hard work and with effort. And so he wants you to use that neuroplasticity, that ability of your brain to change with that effort. Use that to your advantage, right? So challenge yourself and practice. Okay, so that's what the 3 steps that Trevor Reagan said. I also want to give you a different perspective, and this one comes from Carol Dweck. He actually mentioned Carol Dweck in the video. She's a Stanford psychologist. She has been studying growth mindset for 20-something years. And she actually outlines 4 steps on how to build a growth mindset. Okay, her first step, number 1. She says, learn to hear your fixed mindset voice. Right? So if you have a fixed mindset, she says, learn to hear that fixed mindset voice. And what that fixed mindset voice sounds like to most of us is us telling ourselves, I can't do this. Right? Now, you might use slightly different words, but that's what it boils down to. We convince ourselves, I can't do this thing. Right? And we're all talking to ourselves about these kinds of things all the time in our heads, right? So learn to recognize when you are actually using that voice. Now that you've been thinking about this, and a lot of you are going to follow up on this tomorrow in your ILA class, you're going to be talking about growth mindset again. Maybe some of you are going to have writing assignments that you need to do. By thinking about it a lot, you're going to make yourself more aware of when you are actually using this voice and telling yourself, I can't do this. Step 2, according to Carol Dweck, is that when you recognize that you hear this voice, that you're talking to yourself this way, she says, recognize that you have a choice. Right at that moment, you have a choice. The choice is, and most of the time we tell ourselves, I can't do this, when we just had some sort of setback or when we just had some sort of failure. So what she says is, when you're in that moment, your choice is to think about this setback as a failure. I can't do this. I suck, right? I'm no good at this. Or you can choose to look at that setback as a signal that you need to develop some skills. Right? So when you catch yourself saying, I can't do this, you can choose at this moment to say, yeah, I just give up, right? I'm not going to be able to do this. Or you can choose to say, this is a moment where I'm recognizing I need to work at this. I need to get better. Step 3 is when you do recognize that you're using this fixed mindset voice, she says you need to talk back to it with a growth mindset voice instead. Right? So if the fixed mindset voice is, I can't do this, the growth mindset voice is, I can't do this yet. She refers to this as the power of yet. That one little 3-letter word is really, really powerful. So if you get in the habit of saying, well, I can't do this yet, that implies I'm going to be able to get it in the future. Right? So if it is a course that you are struggling with, if it is a skill that you're struggling with on the field, whatever it is, if you can start to use that word yet, right, at the end, that gives you a whole lot of motivation to keep moving, and you're much more likely to keep trying in something. Okay, so that's step number 3. Talk back to your fixed mindset voice with a growth mindset voice. Use that word yet. Step number 4 is to take the growth mindset action. Okay? So once you start talking to yourself with this growth mindset voice, you need to follow it up by taking the growth mindset action. What does that mean? It means you're actually going to take on the challenge rather than giving up. It means that you're going to try and learn from your setbacks, and you're going to try again. Taking the growth mindset action means you're going to listen to the criticism that you get, and you're going to act on it, right? So part of my job as a professor is to give you guys some criticism, right? I send papers back that have red marks all over them, talk to you about your grammar, your sentence structure, the organization, the strength of your argument. I know some students get those papers back and they just look at all the marks and think, oh, I just can't do this, right? I'm giving you that feedback because I'm trying to help you get better, to point out where you have made some mistakes and what you need to work on. So when you get that kind of criticism, act on it. Actually use it. Pull out those old papers, look at all those old marks as you're writing your next paper so that you're not repeating the same mistakes. And then the final thing to go along with the growth mindset action is to make sure that you're looking for help. Okay? There's lots of people around to help you. Make sure that you're actually looking for help from experts who are going to help you get better and correct some of those mistakes. Okay, so Trevor Reagan gives us 3 steps. Carol Dweck gives us 4 steps. Both of them, no matter which one of those sets of steps you prefer, both of them emphasize taking on the challenges and working hard at something, rather than limiting yourself to what you think you're able to do or what you're comfortable with. And quite honestly, I spent a lot of my time as a high school student, as a college student, in a fixed mindset. And I took classes, especially early in college, freshman and sophomore year. I didn't take the classes that people told me were going to be really hard, right? I kind of shied away from those. And I thought, well, I don't know if I'm going to be successful at that, but I think I can do this one, so I'm going to do that class instead. And it wasn't until probably my senior year that I got more into a growth mindset, way of thinking, and then I was comfortable taking on those kinds of things. So don't limit yourself to what you think that you're able to do or what you are comfortable with, right? So take on those challenges. Okay, last section of what I want to do today is work on applying this growth mindset specifically to academics and learning for you. One thing that I want to do real quickly is refer back to this book that you all got mailed over the summer, right? This is your summer learning, or summer reading, Becoming a Learner by Matthew Sanders. On page 17, there's a table where he draws distinctions between being a student and being a learner. And I'll just recap this for you very quickly. A student waits to be directed, but a learner seeks out opportunities. A student learns for the test, whereas a learner learns for understanding. A student is externally motivated, but a learner is internally motivated. A student avoids challenging situations, but a learner seeks those challenging situations. A student sees learning as an obligation, whereas a learner sees learning as an opportunity. And finally, a student learns to do, and a learner learns to learn. So hopefully this is a reminder, you guys have talked about this already in the past, a good refresher. I like that distinction a lot because basically what the author is saying is that a learner basically has a growth mindset, right? A lot of connections between what Trevor Reagan talked to us about today during the video and what Matthew Sanders was saying in this book, Becoming a Learner. Okay, at this point I have a few of your ILA mentors who have agreed to come up on stage and give you a little bit of advice. So why don't you guys start making your way into the stage. While they are on their way here, I have a couple of pieces of advice for you. Okay? So first of all, adopting a growth mindset when it comes to learning, especially in the tough subjects for you, is going to help you persevere and it's going to help you be successful. So what you need to do, try classes outside of your comfort zone. Okay? Respond to the constructive criticism from your professors and realize that hard work will pay off. Okay, I'm going to turn the stage over to these guys. We have Will Fox, Lexi Browder, Morgan Kaiser-Vance, and River Lang. They've all been students of mine in the past, and so they were all very gracious and agreed to come up and talk with you and give you a little bit of advice about this growth mindset stuff. So, take it back.
What's up, guys? So my name's Will. I'm a junior here at Monmouth College. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about being involved here on campus. So, first of all, think back to when you guys were in orientation, so 2 short weeks ago, like, who heard someone say, like, I'm excited to get involved in meeting people? You know, oh, there's nothing. Okay, so I was one of those people actually, just this year, so I'm excited to meet everyone. But I'm going to flash back to when I was a freshman sitting in your guys' seats, 2 short years ago. So when I was a freshman and I heard people say that, I was like, oh brother, we're one of these guys, you know. They're excited about this stuff, you know, it's kind of just playing it down, but like, flash forward to now, and here I am, and I'm just like, I'm like excited to meet everybody here, but so I want to talk about like, I'm kind of nervous right now, sorry. But I was a freshman, so like you know, I wasn't really involved with like anything, so I'd like go to class, go to practice, and you know, hang out with the same 2 friends, that's it. But like, I was like really stuck in my ways, and that's kind of like how I saw what she was saying. Professor Wertz was saying it's like a fixed mindset, like I never really went out and like got involved with stuff here on campus or didn't really want to go meet new people. I was just set in my ways, I was very fixed. But something that changed that was getting involved in taking a responsibility, which I want to encourage you guys to do, is like taking a responsibility as a job, as a mentor. Shout out to my mentors out there. It's the best job you can have on campus because you get to meet new people and take some responsibility. But I think that really was the best decision I could have made for my life here at Monmouth because, like I said, it introduced me. You have to be introduced to 15 freshmen every year you have it. So like, obviously, if you make it is what you make out of it, and you can make like 15 new great connections with people. Shout out to Group B over there. I see you guys. But and also that was like really like the first day of going into like orientation, and it's like, I had a growth mindset. I was like, okay, I'm open to this kind of stuff, and it really just helped me, get comfortable with my fellow mentors, and let's go past that comfortability to like the freshman there on campus. But so you probably think like, where's he going with this? But it's more of my story here is like to go get involved, whether it be like an ASAP event here on campus, so it's kind of fun, or chapel here involved. And even if you're not religious, you could go in there with an open mindset and learn something more about yourself, and maybe make a friend there as well. But I know the story is go get involved and Girl Scouts, baby.
This growth mindset, I'd say keep your minds open and be ready for change. You guys are going to end up being completely different people like years down the road than you are in your seats right now. Be ready to question everything that you think you know. When I was in your seats a couple weeks into freshman year, I knew I was going to be a veterinarian. I was pre-vet, had been since I was like 5. I knew I was going to avoid every chemistry class that I could possibly keep off my schedule. And I knew that my best friends were like the 4 first girls that I had met when I got here. Now, as a senior, I'm looking into medical colleges from a PA program. I am minoring in chemistry. And my best friends come from the men's lacrosse team. Life works out in some weird ways. You are all going to change, and it's going to be kind of uncomfortable. Not all of it will go super smoothly, not all of it will go super well. And that's completely and totally okay. Be ready to push yourself out of that comfort zone. Even if it doesn't go well, you learn something. You either love what you try or you learn that you don't. And either one of those things brings you to a new level of growth that you didn't have before. Embrace this whole crazy, chaotic, amazing opportunity to explore who you are and who you'll be. Embrace your challenges, make new friends, even ones that you never thought you would ever end up being friends with, explore completely new fields, and jump at some crazy opportunities like studying abroad in Amsterdam for a couple months. It's not all going to be easy, but it is all worth it. Your future here and beyond here is completely and totally up to you. It is limitless. So embrace that, do some crazy things, learn new things about yourself, and make this whole crazy life one worth living.
Well, they both have no cards and I don't, so we'll see how this goes. I really liked in the video how they applied a lot of this growth mindset to athletics because I know that a lot of us are involved with that. And I kind of always think of it as, if you're on JV, you play up to varsity, obviously you're gonna play better because you have to play better competition. You have to rise to the occasion, if you will. And so taking that and then applying that to school, for example, my sophomore year, the equivalent of your ILA course, your global perspectives, I had no idea which one to take. I took one that just fit my schedule and I ended up having it with some of my friends. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. It was called Secret Lives of Women in Literature. Literally no idea what it was about. And so the first day, the syllabus says, this is a very, 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 very reading intensive course. End quote. That's literally what the syllabus said. And my heart sunk. I hate reading. And I was like, this is gonna be awful. There's no way I can do this. I'm not gonna make it. Obviously, I didn't drop the course, and I did fine. I did really well, and to this day, it's one of my most favorite classes that I've taken. and just kind of taking a step back and being like, okay, just get over the fact that you don't like to read and just, you know, do the work and it'll all be fine. And after I kind of accepted that, I really enjoyed, you know, overcoming that challenge and just kind of bringing it back, having to play up, if you will, and kind of play with your weaknesses, and that inevitably made me like stronger and a better student. And I find myself thinking about that class often, just because I had to work hard in it, and I had to do the things that I didn't like to do. Ultimately, you know, showing that growth mindset and I guess making me a better person. So I would say like embrace the challenges, because you know in the moment it's probably gonna suck, but looking back you're gonna be thankful that you did, and you're gonna grow as a person whether you realize it or not. So yeah.
Hi everybody. So I was going to talk about myself, but after listening to them I realized I'm pretty bored myself. I'm not going to talk about that. I do want to ask you guys a question though. Is anyone tired? Yeah. I'm kind of tired. We just marched in the parade, marching band, and marching band friends. I'm pretty sure you guys are all tired. I'm tired from that. A lot of stuff was said today, and it was all really good stuff. I really appreciated hearing it. I didn't hear this as a freshman. Yeah, so I think it's pretty cool that you guys are hearing it now. But I also realized that when I was a freshman, I definitely didn't have a real mindset. It took a long time for me to develop it. I probably only really got there at the end of my sophomore year. So, if I had to say one thing, I know you guys are tired, and I see you guys with your notebooks taking lots of notes. I know my group's taking lots of notes. That's right. So, yeah, I know it might be a lot of information. You guys are getting a lot of information from a bunch of different people about a bunch of different things, and hearing a bunch of things that sound really similar and a bunch of things that are different. All this information is coming at you. So the one thing I would say is don't give up. Just keep coming to class and keep sticking it out, because even if you may have gotten a bad grade on a paper or a test or a quiz or a vocab quiz, just keep coming to class. And by virtue of not giving up, and like keep going, you will improve, you will get better. And maybe if you don't really sort of see the truth in the growth mindset stuff, and you think, I don't really know if I buy into this stuff, just keep coming to class. And by doing that, you will be successful eventually. But if you quit, you will never be successful. And I can promise you that. And I can't promise a whole lot. So, moral of the story, write this down. If you didn't really get the overall goal of this convocation, don't give up, please.
Thank you all very much for that. Before we wrap up, give me one more minute. So if you adopt this growth mindset, what that implies is you're going to find challenges, right? And so I want to wrap this up by going through a couple of resources, actually quite a few resources that are available to you here at Honor College when you do find yourself getting kind of stuck and having a hard time. Okay, first of all, you've already heard about your professor's office hours. Actually show up for those, right? So office hours means I'm there, I am waiting for you to come talk to me, right? So don't feel bad, you just show up, ask us whatever questions you have. So make sure that you're using those. Many of your courses also have tutors, teaching assistants available for them. Make sure that you're making use of those fellow students who are there who have already been through this class and have done a good job at it. So ask them for help. We have the writing extension. We have the speech tutors, right? So with your English 110 and your Common 1 courses, you're going to get in touch with those folks, so keep using them. We have an Academic and Career Excellence Center, which is located over at Hughes Library. They will be sponsoring workshops on study skills, time management, how to take good notes, right? So if those are things that you are struggling with, show up to that stuff, right? Start working on those skills now. You also have your ILA mentors, right? So make sure that you're making use of these guys and other upper class students that you meet along the way. You also have your RAs to reach out to. So you have a bunch of students, you also have your professors, right? I want to also give a shout out to the staff at Student Affairs, many of whom are here. Thanks for coming, guys. Right? So if they're back here, these are folks who have dedicated their careers to helping you be successful. Right? So you have a whole lot of folks that you can go to as resources on campus if you need us, right? So, and you probably will need us at some point. So come seek us out and make use of us. So just remember, everybody here wants you to be successful. We're willing to help you. Make sure that you look for us. Thanks for your attention, guys. Have a